What a display of football. How foolish of me. How stupid I am. What an idiot am I to think these two beasts of a club, beasts of a football team will conserve themselves, will restrain themselves from going on to each other. That was what was happening on today's football pitch. Pure halal football. You know football, I know football, we are going to reply each other, we are going to go at each other on football only. No out of the field shenanigans, no inside the field shenanigans, no hand throwing, no tantrums, nothing. Pure football. You are going to score one, we are going to score one. You are going to outscore us, we are going to come back. That was what was happening in today's match. Pure adrenaline, pure adrenaline rush, pure ego, pure aura farming from all of the players, especially from the attackers of both the teams or of all of these superstars. Harry Kane, Luis Diaz, Michael Olise, Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Doué, Kvrasthkelia. What a player, all of them. Let me calm down a little and let's analyze the match. First of all, both of the teams knew that no one is going to hold back in this team. In this match, no one is going to hold back. If Bayern try to attack them, Bayern try to create full-on attack, commit players on the upper end of the pitch, on the D-box side of the PSG, then there is going to be repercussion of that. PSG are going to make counter-attack on Bayern Munich and they are going to utilize their pace against Bayern. That was pretty obvious from the start of the match. Bayern was controlling the position, Bayern was having more of the position compared to PSG, and PSG was like, okay, you are having it, no problem, but every time you are going to lose it, we are going to attack you, and attack they did. At the first half, most of the time, Bayern were managing to control the counter attacks, especially with the pace of Alphonso Davies. Achraf Hakimi on his side was controlled, and Jonathan Tah and Upamecano combined against Desiree Doué or Ousmane Dembele. To be very honest, Ousmane Dembele in the first half was having the worst game of his life, except for the penalty. But apart from all of that, both of the teams controlled each other quite well. There was no horrendous defensive mistake, there was no howler from any of the defenders, neither the goalkeeper. But apart from all of that, the attacking quality of both of these teams was so damn high that none of the defenders from each side could do anything about it. Whenever PSG were trying to stop the passing lane of Bayern Munich, they out of somewhere created some passing lane that never existed before, especially thanks to the player named Harry Kane. Harry Kane is not a striker. Let me make this clear. If any one of you are of doubt that Harry Kane is actually a striker, no. He plays at the striker position. He is known as a striker. That is a false advertisement. Harry Kane is actually a defender. Harry Kane is actually a defensive midfielder. He is a central midfielder. He is an attacking midfielder. He is a winger as well. But he is never a striker. In this match, Harry Kane not for a single second played as a striker. He dropped back at defensive midfield role to contact the game. It's not like Bayern doesn't have good defensive midfielder to contact the game. Pavlovic and Joshua Kimmich were very good enough, and Michael Olise was controlling the game from his side well as well. Luis Diaz was, most of the time, Luis Diaz was the one who was left up, who was not tracking back to build up the game or control the tempo of the game. It was left on the hand of Harry Kane and Michael Olise to drop back and create the build the game from the back. But my God, Harry Kane was had such a phenomenal game today, because apart from fouling him, there was no other way to get the ball from him. There was one sequence in the second half, I guess, where he fell down. There were two players of PSG who were attacking on him. He was on the ground and two players of PSG were attacking on him for the ball. But still, he managed to come out of that scenario. And he is not one of those prolific dribblers, or he is not one of those silky smooth buttery dribblers like Olise or Lamine Yamal. No, he is the guy who holds the ball. He's ugly. He's not the most pleasant to the eye kind of dribbler or pleasant to the eye kind of baller, but he knows how to hold the ball. He knows how to use his body, use his strength, use his presence to shield the ball, guide the ball, and make the final pass. And boy, his passes are such beauty. Take the Luis Diaz goal for an example. How many goals did Luis Diaz score in this match? There are so many goals today that I have forgotten who has scored how many goals. But the one where Harry Kane made the pass from the midfield and Luis Diaz controlled it beautifully, immaculately, and then scored. That was vision at its finest. And that is what Harry Kane brings to the game. Harry Kane's floating energy, floating nature of Harry Kane that brings a chaos other side of the pitch. Because when the striker is roaming around freely and he has been given the permission to join the midfield and join the defense if necessary, then there is that one extra man in the midfield who helps Bayern conduct the game, and that is Harry Kane obviously. And the kind of ability on the ball that he has, the kind of technique that he has, the kind of passing range, the kind of shooting range that he has, and obviously that control of ball, the holding game that he has, it is a blessing for Bayern to have Harry Kane as their striker. And the primary reason that they scored or made the comeback, however, coming back from 5-2 to 5-4 was primarily because of Harry Kane and his vision and his connection game with all the other players. What PSG did the first half or in the second half was basically let Bayern play their game, and they holded back themselves until Bayern started to lose the ball. And as I said before, PSG had the most pacey, most technical wingers of them all, along with Ousmane Dembele, who plays as a striker, but we all know he was a winger by nature. So he has the technical quality, he has the pace in him to burst to any defense with his pace. And in the second half, the overcommitment of player in the front by Bayern Munich was getting exposed. And I have to be honest about one thing, Bayern was overdoing certain things. There was multiple there were multiple times where Bayern was trying to overcook. A simple pass, a simple shot at the goal would have resulted in something more than what we saw. There was one instance where Yamal Musiala got a clear shot at goal. There was multiple players in front of him, but still the gap between him and the goal was minimal. But still he decided to pass it on to nowhere and be wasteful about that opportunity. And a lot of more such chances were created about which Bayern was wasteful. This overcomplication of stuff was hunting Bayern Munich at their own back, because they were losing the ball in the front and so many players were committed at their left back, their right back. As soon as Alphonso Davies was substituted off and Stanisic was substituted on, I knew that Stanisic's role was going to be to get inside and play as the striker more, because Harry Kane was dropping deep. So Stanisic was going to be the player who ball will be thrown at, and his job was going to be to finish it. Now Stanisic also going forward, Neymar also being forward at certain point of time, made sure that Upamecano and Jonathan Tah were the last men standing for Bayern Munich. And to defend Kvara, Desiree Doué, Bradley Barcola, Ousmane Dembele, all of these players with only two defenders was going to be difficult, and it showed. In the second half itself, in about 5 minutes they conceded 2 goals and the lead went from 3-2 to 5-2. And this is when Bayern showed more maturity, Bayern showed more intent. They didn't crumble under pressure, they didn't back down, they didn't crumble under pressure, they didn't back down for even for the minimal ounce. If it wasn't for Bayern, if it was any other European team and that position, 5-2 against PSG, they would have crumbled under pressure. But that is the character of Bayern, that is the personality of Bayern. If you are going to score against us, we are going to score against you as well. You are going to create chances against us, we are going to create chances against you. And that is what they did. They showed character, they showed maturity, they showed intent to bounce back. And that is what makes these two teams completely different from all of the other teams currently at the world. Their maturity, their personality, their character they have to bounce back in any situation, to not give up, to not be afraid of anything, to not be afraid of anyone that is standing in front of you and giving your 100% best at every situation and not throwing any tantrum towards any official or the fans or anyone, because we know even at big clubs there are certain players who are more famous for their shenanigans, more famous for their tantrum rather than performing on the pitch, and that is what makes the Bayern Munich players, the PSG players, different from all the other players. When Bayern was scoring, PSG was looking for chances and they utilized every chance that they got. Similarly, Bayern created more chances, but they were wasteful more than PSG. That is true. Bayern was overdoing certain things and they were more wasteful than PSG. But still, they kept on doing what they do the best. Even when PSG was 5-2 up, the way Bayern pressed, Bayern created chances. At that moment, for a certain period of time, it felt like PSG were holding themselves back. PSG were like, we have done our bit, but the kind of barrage that we are facing right now, it's better that we defend a little. It is better that we be conservative a little, and that is when Bayern utilized their conservativeness and they scored 2 more goals. Coming to the single most controversial decision in this game, I believe referee did a very well job in the whole game, conducting the gameplay, conducting the flow of the game. He made sure the game was not interrupted for silly things or any silly mistakes. But one thing that was like the elaichi in the biryani, that was like the sore thing about the whole gameplay, was the penalty decision of Alphonso Davies. Be honest to yourself, at that position where your player is almost holding your hand back and just before the shot was taken, in order to block the shot, he just let his hands loose, and naturally when you let your hand loose, your hands are going to come back to its original position, and if you are turning your body at certain position, then your hand is also going to turn. That is the natural flow of the body. You have no control over the natural flow of the body. You cannot just keep it like that. He let his hand loose, the hand just came back in its natural position, and he was not even looking at the ball. He closed his eyes before the shot was taken. Despite saying that he was not looking at the ball, the hand was in a natural position, not elongated like that. No, it was in a natural position, close to his legs, close to his body, in a natural position, not looking at the ball. Still, that was given as a penalty. That made no sense. It was at that position Bayern was actually being heavy on PSG. The way Bayern was attacking, yes, PSG was 2-1 up, but Bayern made the comeback with Olise's goal, another beauty of a goal. But at that position, that the way the penalty was given, and Ousmane Dembele was having a horrendous game till then, but after the penalty was scored, he got his confidence back, and later on he went on to score another one. But it was at that moment that the momentum shifted a little from Bayern to PSG, because going in the halftime with 1 goal up is always obviously going to be in favor of you, and that was the ultimate decider of the match as well. That 1 goal is the aggregation, is the advantage that PSG has over Bayern at this moment. Do I feel that was fair? I don't think so. That was one of the most horrific decisions that I saw. Otherwise, in a very fair game, in a very neutral kind of game, in a game where every decision was almost made in a precise way, the beautiful goal of Luis Diaz was almost given offside, but the way that pass was made, the way he timed that run, and the way he took the first touch, the way he controlled the ball, that goal deserved to stay onside. That goal deserved to be counted as a goal, and I am thankful that he was not on offside and that stayed on as a goal, and we got to enjoy a beauty of a goal. All of the goals, if you take the first goal, Bayern just did almost a tiki-taka and Luis Diaz created the penalty scenario, beautiful passing sequence, then the Kvrasthkelia goal, beautiful solo attempt, and what a player Kvara is, man. In one side you have Kvrasthkelia, who was wreaking havoc on Upamecano and Jonathan. On the other side you have Olise, who was making Nuno Mendes look like an amateur footballer. Nuno Mendes, the best in his position, the best left back in the current generation, in the current scenario, but he was made look like an amateur footballer by Michael Olise. What a player Michael Olise is, man. Both Michael Olise and Luis Diaz, both of the players in their respective side doing what they do the best, creating chances, scoring blinders, scoring beautiful goals. Harry Kane with the beautiful pass, Kvrasthkelia, and then Achraf Hakimi creating the havoc on the side. As soon as Alphonso Davies substituted off. Ashraf Hakimi was given more freedom to go up because he has his space to create the attack as well as defend as well. So Nuno Mendes was being more conservative because of Olise, obviously, because Olise was creating so much on his side that he had to be a little more conservative. But Ashraf Hakimi was given the green signal to go up, and while he was going up, he was creating so many chances, and that is where the second goal of Kvara and second goal of Ousmane Dembele also came in. And truth be told, I feel like Neuer should have done a little better. I know it was one of those games where all of the goals were blinders, all of the goals were bangers, all of the attempt by PSG was brilliant attempt. But if your opposition is taking only 5 shots on target and all of the 5 shots are turning into goals, then there is something that you should have done a little better. I know he is Neuer, he is the legend, he has nothing to prove anymore, but I believe in this game, if one save would have been attempted by him, if he would have managed to made one save, the difference would have been huge going into the second leg. But still, all the kind of attack that PSG was creating, I know it is difficult and it is easy for me to say from here, sitting in my couch, sitting in my chair and commenting on the performance of Manuel Neuer, but still I believe if the opponent is taking 5 shots on target and all of the 5 is converting into goals, then because on the other hand, PSG, the goalkeeper of PSG was actually giving his life to save at least one of them. Because as I said, Bayern was creating more chances, Bayern was being wasteful of more chances as well. But it was the goalkeeper's role, it was the goalkeeper who stopped many of them as well. And this is after watching Olise for full 90 minutes after so many times that I understand Olise and Lamine Yamal, despite them playing in the same position, they are actually very opposite of each other. Where Olise is more direct, his approach toward the defender or toward the opposite goal is much more direct. Either he's going to create those fake body movements, body feints, or step overs and create a direct crossing chance, or go to his left foot and create a goal scoring chance. Lamine, on the other hand, is much more the left-footed version of Neymar. He is much more unpredictable. You don't know actually he is going to go outside, or he is going to go inside, or he is going to take a shoot, or he is going to create that 1-2 and go inside and then shoot or curl it. He is much more unpredictable in that way, and both have their merit. I am a player who is more direct. I relate with Michael Olise's style more, but the kind of chaos that Lamine's style makes is very unique in its own. So I believe comparing these two players is a little injustice towards them as well, because they are two very different kind of players with a very different set of teammates as well. So that was my analysis about the match of PSG versus Bayern, one of the, if not the best UCL semi-final match of all time. And I am happy that these two have met in the semi-final, because we will get to see another such banger of a match in few days instead of in the final where we could have seen this match for only once. I am actually happy for that. But today it is even more beautiful match coming in. All the goals scored in this match will compensate for the goals that will not be scored in this match. 9 goals in 90 minutes compared to what? 0 goals in 90 minutes or 0 attempt at goal at 90 minutes? We have to see. Pure halal ball versus pure haram ball. I think both Vincent Kompany and Luis Enrique were thinking like, you know what, audiences are going to witness this haram ball in next day after watching us. So let's compensate for it. Let's compensate for that. Let's score the share of goals that these two are going to score in our match as well. Because 9 goals in the first 90 minutes, 9 goals in first leg, and then there is these two, the pure bottle jaws of Spain and England, the pure haram ball specialists. It will be exciting to watch the kind of thrill that we achieved watching the PSG versus Bayern Munich. What are you going to feel when you watch this Atletico and Arsenal? Are you going to have the same kind of feel or same kind of thrill that you got watching these two, or are we going to snooze by the first half of the match? Yes, we will find out by the end of the match. And we will also do a thorough match analysis of the Atletico versus Arsenal match that the game has been done. So to make sure to see that, stay tuned to Boots and Balls.